Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Orak Podcast. And this is an artsy one because we are in presence of Jamshed Ghani. If I'm not wrong, this is your correct name. And you're doing MPhil in
This is my
English
correct.
literature. Yeah. And at Normal University in Islamabad, you are writing short stories. You write amazing short story. I have read one, and you live your life, I can say, to the fullest in time. And you learn about art, literature, history, folklore music, and cinema. And sometimes you also write film reviews. And this is the perfect segue for our this episode because we are going to review two films. Um, so just I forgot that you are a Balochi. You live in Turbat. I don't know if it was a main point, important point, but this is part of your identity. And you know
Uh,
me.
I'm a Baloch. Balochi is my language.
Okay, Baloch. Sorry, you already told me you are a Baloch and you speak Balochi. Balochi is
Okay.
the language.
Okay.
Yes. And you know me. I'm Hamim. I'm an engineer by profession, but art fascinates me, not to the same extent as other people, but does fascinate me as well. So today we are talking about two films. We each recommended one film to the other. I recommended The Hidden Figures to Jamshed, and Jamshed recommended me Mahanagar. And so these are, uh, yeah, I recommended The Hidden Figures, which came out in 2017. I will just say personally, it represents a lot to me because 2017 I was finishing my degree and aerospace degree. So I was in in a company where there was not a lot of diversity. Uh, and as a woman, it meant a lot to see models in history, not like real time, that time models, but in history. And that represented a lot to me. And Jamshed, would you like to say some word?
About the film, um, I like the film. Um, I like the style of the film, the way it was made, the artistic choices. I thought it was, in contrast to other films which portray a realistic image of that era of racism against black people and sexism against women. It was more optimistic, I felt. Uh, this optimism is evident in the music the music director has chosen, the poppy, light-hearted music, we can say badass music, that the score, uh, even when people are seemingly suffering or people are going through difficult times, like Catherine running back and forth from and to her workplace and the bathroom, the washroom. So even then, even in instances like that, we see poppy music, we see optimism. Uh, the director does not necessarily uh, see everything in a pessimistic lens or in a lens that would portray
Sorry.
uh, black lives as as only suffering. So I like that. I like that it was different from other films. That would go.
Could we start with the story? Could you tell us what is the story about of the Hidden Figures, and then we can comment some aspects.
Hidden Figures is It's directed by Theodore Melfi. I don't know the director, but he has several films. He has been nominated several times, Oscar nominated. The story is adapted from a non-fiction book. I think it was released the same year as this film. The film was released the same year as this film. The film was released the same year as this film by Margaret B. Shatterley. It's a non-fiction book. I think it could be uh, said that it's a biographic. It's a biography of it's a biography of that helped the NASA projects
Mm-hmm.
to space and to the moon. So this film is particularly about three women. So there's Katherine Johnson, who is an orbital mechanics expert. Then there's Mary Jackson, who was the first female engineer, first black female engineer in the US, and the first person to study in an all-white high school who who's black, Mary Jackson. And then there's Dorothy Vaughan, who worked in NASA. She worked in NACA, which is National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics. And we can say that she was the first person to crack the Fortran programming language,
Yes.
which was still new at that time. It was still and uh, so they decided to learn it because they wanted to go with the time. They wanted to be useful and they didn't want to go obsolete. So they tried to learn this language and they learned it. This story is about these three women, how they face obstacles because they are black and because they are women. So it's two layered, and how they surpass those obstacles, and after surpassing these obstacles, how they make a difference. It's a story. We can say it's an untold story because before this film, I didn't know that black women had such a big part, such a big role in the NASA projects, the Mercury projects, and the Apollo astronaut project, and they had such a big role. And I think there are many people like me who didn't know before this film or before the book that black women had such great roles in these projects. They practically made it possible for men to step on the moon. They invented the mathematics. They learned languages that previously weren't even were just invented in the country. So it's the story. Most probably, we can say the protagonist, the main character, is Catherine, but it's also about the other two. It's about all three characters. But Catherine is, I think, prioritized a bit more. So it's about Catherine. It's about how she enters the NASA and she transfers from the department from the computing section, West Area computing section, to NASA in order to do mathematics, do the calculations for orbital mechanics for the Mercury project. And she faces many obstacles like the other two characters. She faces segregation laws, segregation conventions, but she surpasses all those obstacles and she receives some help from authorities and from some solidarity from her own people. So it's a very complex story because it's not only about Catherine or Mary Jackson or the other character just going through the obstacles and it's not only a one-sided story. Uh, it's about these black women. It's about the all-white white supremacist authoritative figures. It's also about helpful figures like Mr. Harrison,
Yeah.
but it's also about women who are also racist, who should have solidarity for these women because they are women too, but they are also racist. So there's also intergender racism. It's about a lot of things, I think. And but basically, it's about these three powerful women who surpass many obstacles to reach their own goals, their individual goals, and also to help the country achieve some really big goals, like stepping on the moon. Literally, the biggest goal they had at that time, at a time when the space race was everything.
Agreed. I also find that they are like, I think I was searching for one famous quotes from this film, and there's this quote that she says, every time we have a chance to get ahead, they move the finish line. I find it really powerful. I think she's going. I think she Mary Jackson. She is going to apply for the for the school, the engineering course, and then they move the they change the rules. Or Mitchell, I think she tells off something like, you cannot do that. We have changed conditions. You cannot apply for this position, something like that. I don't remember exactly, but like she cannot afford, she does not fit to the conditions anymore. And this line was so powerful for me because when you already have a handicap or disability, I would say, which a characteristic that does not serve you, and then on top of that you have other hardships. You have double hardship, but no one sees your first, no one recognizes your first hardship in the first place. So it was really, really powerful, and it hit me so hard when she said that. And you're also right when you're talking about the women position, because they are doing amazing job. Their job is complicated. It takes a lot of mental energy to do what they're doing, with their gray cells and everything. But this is considered as transparent. Just do your job and everything. And even in their community, when I think it is Katherine Johnson, the main character, she encounters a suitor in her church, and this guy says,
Mm.
"Oh, are you privileged, like because you wear skirts?" And she's offended, and she says, "No, it is because we wear glasses." To say no, she alludes to her intelligence, and I think this is also one of the quotes that, yeah, it's not because we wear skirts, it's because we wear glasses that we're intelligent, or I don't know. And this also hit me, like there is also patriarchy in within black
Inside the
community,
community.
within black community,
Yeah.
and on top of that there is segregation. There are other difficulties. So these women, they are warriors. They can handle it all. I shouldn't say they can handle it all, but they just confront whatever comes their way. And they are so strong mentally, as you were saying. It's Dorothy Vaughan who says, who steals a book. And I loved it because she said she couldn't go at the in the white section, and she says, "Oh, when you need it, you can do it," and she is doing it in front of her kid. So it was very powerful. You gotta do with the conditions you have. You gotta do. You gotta find some way to learn, to progress. And these were so little joyous moments in their resilience that make this theme, which is so heavy, a little bit lighter, and gives you hope. In whatever condition you are, you also can find your way.
I agree. Regarding that, the church scene, that guy is my one of my favorite actors. That actor is Mashallah Ali. He has won Oscar. He, he was in one of my most favorite TV series, Luke Cage. He had a phenomenal character, a villain. This, yeah, he says that how are they giving women such responsibilities? So his quotation is, he says that, oh, this is some heady stuff. That are those are his words. That is some heady stuff. They let women do. they let women handle that sort of
Mm.
responsibility
Yes, but he doesn't know where it hits. He doesn't know how women
and she
will
cuts him off
receive it.
and and she's regretful. He also goes to say sorry, but this shows how ingrained the sexism is, the conventions. So he likes her and he also has respect for her. But this shows how ingrained, how deep inside their heads, deep inside their brains, they're still sexist because their society, their community is still sexist. So
Exactly.
you are absolutely right. They are doubly, we can say, discriminated. The discrimination is twofold. They're
Yeah.
women and they're black women. They're
Yeah.
women and they're discriminated to both to black people and to white people. And
Yeah.
they're black women,
Hmm.
so they are discriminated in white community. It was a very, but they were very diverse perspectives, I think. So there was racism, there was racism inside the community, there was racism inside their own genders, there was pessimism inside their own communities, but there was also solidarity.
There was
What did you think
solidarity.
about? There was solidarity. What do you think about Mr. Harrison, Al
Okay.
Harrison?
Yeah, so I think when I saw the film, I really liked his character because he is one of the guys who accumulates all the good qualities and he does good things and he seems to separate, he seems to understand. But the fact that they don't ever talk about Martin Luther King, or they don't say that there is segregation and there are other elements who are also bringing change. He is the white guy getting all the credits for any change he could bring. He brought change at NASA. And maybe he was not the sole figure. They accumulated everything because they wanted a character like that. They accumulated everything, but yeah, I think it was for filming to balance the forces. There was a black force and then there is a
It
white
was
force.
filmed. You're right. It was unrealistic, and
Why would he be so educated? Why would he
your
be?
instincts are spot on. This character is not real. It's fictional.
Yeah.
You know that
Yes.
this character, all of us are real, based on real people. But this Al Harrison, I thought, I think I read something about him. He's an amalgamation of three different people that lived during that time in NASA.
Yes.
So him removing the those boards
Separation. Yeah. The West
of
area.
color,
Black colored
segregated,
bathrooms. Yeah.
that's fictional. That did not happen in real life. That did not happen. And I think I read something uh, about Catherine, and she says in an article, in interview, that she didn't uh, get to she didn't get her rights because of other people, because of someone authoritative like Al Harrison. She took it herself. She went to the white restrooms. She used the white women's restrooms herself. So it was her decision. She empowered herself. She took the
Mm.
step. And there's
And
also this
yeah.
remove. Yes,
And
go
why
on.
didn't they picture it like this? Making it braver and say, okay, I take the decision. And it becomes even bolder because then you don't need white force.
You don't. It was this was I think a decision of the creative director to make it optimistic, to make it light-hearted. So if they had, for example, if they had if they had made it just as it was, then it would have been a very dark film. I think
Mm, yes.
a realistic film would have been a dark film because
Mm,
it wasn't that easy, it
yeah.
wasn't that convenient for these women. There was also, I think I read somewhere that somebody else they didn't remove the uh, washroom boards, but they did remove the cafeteria boards. And that woman was also a black woman.
Oh. Okay.
I think her name was.
I heard that there was a edict, I don't know, a circular that was launched, and that circular removed segregation. That removed West area was not segregated anymore after that, but not like someone breaking things or. And if you but in my interview where I watched, it was a white man. So one of the men who is in the amalgamation of Harrison did produce this edict to remove the segregation.
So it was from a white guy, but it was not as heroic as it is shown here. Not
Maybe,
so theatrical and dramatic.
yeah. What was your favorite moment of the movie?
My favorite moment was the monologue.
Which monologue?
And down my favorite moment in the film was the monologue by Catherine. Wait a minute. It was the monologue where asks her where you've been, and she replies to the bathroom. She goes on a lot,
Yeah,
angry.
pearls and cafe and everything. And she says, I have to go to Timbuktu to relieve myself and everything. This is a
That was my favorite
powerful
moment.
moment. I think this is
And
the climax.
let me find it and read it out because I love that. I love that moment because, and it's the only moment where Catherine is angry during her uh, long stay at NASA, and I think after that before or after that, there isn't any scene where she is angry or where she shows any emotions during her stay. So that was very such an electric performance by that actress and the writing.
Hmm.
What was your favorite moment?
I think I like the funny moments, like when they meet a cop on the street. So it is not the it is a funny moment. They meet a cop on and they're late, I think, and they say, "Oh, we are working for the space project and everything," and the cop escorts them, and they are
The first
speeding.
scene,
Sorry. And they're speeding after the cop. So this was like a hilarious moment. I laughed. And I think as you're saying it would have been a dark movie. This part they were showing their liveliness despite their harsh conditions. I think I also love the moment when it's Mary Jackson when she comes up with her strategy and says, "Can I approach your honor?" And then she says, "You will be remembered if you do this." And she finds the point where she can hit and she can get her way.
the
Yeah,
as we say in Urdu, Khushamad.
yeah.
You know the power of Khushamad.
But it was
I
not
love that
just
scene.
Khushamad. It was like you are gonna go down the history if you do that. And it is for real. Like, it's not just Wayne just telling you something to get my way. It was we both can work together and it is beneficial for you and it is beneficial for me. So this was really nice and I think I was impressed by all these three women, by their resilience, by their whatever they were, because for me that was the basis. I think I was impressed by every moment they would talk and they would teach, and I think they didn't only talk for Black community. I think they talked for all the minorities anywhere which could have an extra mile to go to achieve success. And this resilience, I took it. I just drank. Every word they said, it was useful. And how they carried with each their themselves with humor. I think when I have put a picture when they meet the astronaut, John Glenn, I think. And so Mary Jackson, she says something, and it is so, I love it. She says, I think one of her colleague maybe says, don't stare or something. And she says, let me find. It's equal rights. I have the right to see fine in every color. And this is when they're seeing John Glenn, I think. And I was like, humor,
Yes,
it stays. So this was really cool. Yeah, I think where I was really frustrated was when I think Jim Parson, who is playing the bad engineer, he
uh,
gives her paper.
Mr. Stafford.
Yeah,
Stafford, I think.
yes. And he gives her a paper, and he has blacked everything. He has blacked, what is moving like up. It is, when you are doing a scientific problem, even when you know objects, because you need to know X is moving or Y is moving and everything. You need to know what is your equation. And he's removing the variables, and you really have to imagine that this must be X and this must be Y and this must be something, and you have to do that equation without the context. And this is the extra mile as well. This is additional difficulty. I was
Yes,
really
and Jim Parsons
disgusted.
was very believable in his character. I hated him, and that the ability to hate, he exudes that hatefulness. He is a symbol to me of meanness and ego. He's
Yeah.
egotistical. He's possessive of his work, and he when he gives his work to her for checking the maths,
Hmm.
he says, "My maths is spot on. My math is correct." He was hateable throughout the film, and that's the reason. That is why he's such a great actor, because he, on the one hand, he's funny, and I'm sure you've seen the
The Big
sitcom.
Bang.
He
Yeah.
is so funny as Sheldon in Big Bang
Yeah.
Theory, and
Exactly.
here he's something else entirely.
Exactly. And I think when you say that he wants us to hate, I think really he does that brilliantly. On the other hand, I really like that he's openly an enemy. He says, "Okay, I don't like you," and he doesn't like you. But the coffee pot. The coffee pot is coming
Mm.
from all the other colleagues who do not say something, but do say things, run their mouth when she's not here, does not say anything to her face, but it is their common thoughts, and that has led to that coffee pot, that separate coffee pot. And this is maybe, I prefer enemy when they're declared. When you have a frenemy, it is way harder to know who they are and how to handle them, because they are sweet in front of you.
Make it clear if you're my enemy or not.
Yeah, you should. I think.
I've found a pattern throughout the film, a
Mm-hmm.
structure sort of. So first there is the racism,
Mm-hmm.
the ordinary, the commonplace racism that was commonplace during that time.
Yes.
For example, when Catherine enters the building, there is no other female worker,
Mm-hmm.
especially no. There is only one female worker who is also rude to her.
Mm-hmm.
There are no black female workers.
Mm-hmm.
When she enters, she's mistaken for a janitor.
Yes.
You remember that?
Yeah.
A man comes and gives the dustbin, and he
Yes.
says,
He gives
"It
her the
wasn't
dustbin. Yeah.
it wasn't emptied last night." So
Mm.
their first impression of seeing a black woman enter into the building is that she must be a janitor. So it's racism, but it's also because it's uncalled, unheard of,
Mm.
and they were the first. They were breaking conventions. So it shows both of these sides. This is
Mm.
racism, but it's also the breaking of conventions, and that's why they do understand it. They all
Mm.
stare at her,
Yes.
each staring at her. That day is only reserved for staring at her.
Hmm.
And they're puzzled that a black female worker is here,
Hmm.
more skilled at mathematics than all others combined.
Agreed.
And she proves herself by not by the end, by at the very beginning. I think she proves herself. And there's another when there was a monologue which we discussed. There's also those segregated water coolers and those restricted blackened stuff you talked about, Jim Parsons.
Hmm.
But then there's also intergender racism, women's racism against women. So racism surpasses gender boundaries. And despite a history of discrimination that women face, there is still a gulf between a white woman and a black woman. It seems strange, but it happened. It was the reality at that time. When Miss Mitchell comes to the segregated black computer section, he says, "I didn't think I'd come all the way down here." So the diction, the choice of words suggests that this is. It almost seems like she's comparing it to hell,
Exactly.
all the way down here.
Same thing. Same thing.
So
I was
it's a
thinking.
place where she's surprised that she's. You saying something?
No, I said agree. I agree. It seemed like she had descended to hell.
Yes, and she wasn't happy about it. Then when Miss, what was her name? I forget the name. The supervisor, Dorothy Vaughan,
Yeah, Dorothy
when she
Vaughan.
asks about the promotion, about giving her the supervisor job, because she's practically doing the supervisor job, and she isn't getting the income or the label. And Miss Mitchell just ignores her requests, and she says they're not assigning the permanent supervisor for the current group. When she asks why, she said, I don't know why. I didn't ask why. So it's just he doesn't care about these people. He doesn't really think about them much. So this is, and I think, an example of gender within racism within gender. Then there's also what you talked about, racism within their own community and within their own families. For example,
Exactly.
when Mary Jackson's husband or boyfriend,
Husband, I think.
my audible,
I think it was her husband,
who was that then?
the guy at the
I
church
don't
who was jobless or
know.
something.
I think I'm talking about
Okay, Mary
the
Jackson.
conversation Mary Jackson has with this guy, and he doesn't. And I don't understand. A female engineer, how is this possible? Don't be a fool. This isn't. I wouldn't say it's sexism, but it's pessimism. It's a complete denial of. He doesn't think that the government would be so kind enough to give black women the job. It's almost similar to many people in our country who don't believe in the government, who stopped believing in the government, or who are hopeless, who's
Yes.
hopeless like us, for example. And we're not to be blamed because of the history of discrimination and and the and and segregation, which is they're practically going through at that time. So racism, slavery is over, but there's still the hangover of slavery, which is in the form of segregation.
Mm.
Uh, then there's also solidarity. Remember the guy Karl Zelensky, the Polish survivor of Nazi camps. I think my second favorite dialogue in this movie is that one when he says that a person with an engineer's mind should be an engineer. You
Here,
remember that one?
this one, this picture.
I don't see it, but
Okay.
the old guy, I think he's Zelensky.
Yes.
She replies,
And
I'm
yeah,
a Negro. She replies, I'm a Negro woman. I'm not going to entertain the impossible. And then he replies with one of the most beautiful lines in the film. He says, I'm a Polish Jew whose parents died in a Nazi prison camp. Now I'm standing beneath a spaceship that is going to carry an astronaut to the stars. I think we can say we are living the impossible.
exactly.
I thought that was beautiful.
Yes. This line is magical. I think You're right. We can dwell into pessimism, but in Baloch community, we can see Maharang, which is also coming in that community and has a lot of hopes and does the dialogue and everything. And in this scene as well, Zelensky encourages Mary to say, "Oh, you have an engineering mind. Why don't you take the degree? Why don't you do that?" And I think, like, despite colors, in reality, you will find mentor in white or black or any other community you will be evolving in. I think you can find good people everywhere, and this defies all the stereotypes that we have. And this is why I think we keep on hoping that we will stumble on good people, and why we strive also, I think, to be good people as well.
We find throughout our lives good people where we wouldn't expect them to be. Life surprises you all the time, I think.
And that's the beauty of it.
That's the beauty of it. Life should surprise you.
Yeah.
Life should surprise you once in a while, at least.
Yes. Or, yeah, I think you can also surprise life with your reaction and say, okay, you expect me to react this way. I'm not reacting this way. And yeah, I'll continue on, maybe hoping, maybe optimistic, maybe going at the extra mile, maybe through solidarity. I think yeah, I wanted to talk about I wanted to mention a little bit the Ted Theodore Melfi here, who is the director of this film. And in his body of work, you see that there's not a lot of his work is known. He has done other films, but the Hidden Figures is his biggest success. And as he describes, he said that he has been auditioning for Spider-Man at that time, and that Monday was the result, and he got the offer for Hidden Figures on Friday evening. And he was so into it that he dropped on Monday. He withdrew from Spider-Man. And I find it amazing on a Muslim perspective. I say Allah, when he knows that something bad is gonna happen, maybe he was not gonna get this project, or maybe something good is gonna happen. He prepared Theodore for, he gave him something, and he said, now you can just let go of thing. And this was the whole this story was so beautiful, that he got this project, he withdrew, and he went along with this project, and this was a huge success. And I think one of the takeaway he took from this film is inclusivity. And he said, now I make it a rule that I will not work for films which do not have a minority lead, or do not have the theme of exclusivity, diversity. It doesn't resonate with me anymore. And I said, okay, we convinced one director, and that is already, this is a huge step that he changed in this process. And he was saying about the actresses that when he pictured them and he called them, they were all in. They are great actresses. So being all in like that, it also means that they were engaged and they resonated with this project. So it was more than, just an actor gig. It was telling stories, it was inspiring, it was changing and giving dreams and hope for. I think after seeing this film, after Elon Musk, I don't like his personality, but I think what he did with the space, people started dreaming more about astronomy. I think in aerospace engineering, space had become, we were thinking, okay, the International Space Station will just die out. We are just waiting that it finishes its life, but no new project was, there were no aerospace engineers saying, oh, I will be astronaut. This was Howard's I'd say this was a profession that was old, gone, not existing anymore, that had extinct. And in 2017, we had this one. Just before, we had 2 years back, I think we had Interstellar. We had another film called Moon on Neil Armstrong at that time. And that very year, in 2017, we also had The Wind Rises from Miyazaki, which is also about an Italian engineer and depicts beautifully the engineer, Jiro, in his environment and in his inventiveness. During post, it is for World War II, I think, environment, and so that particular time for the Hidden Figures, I think it was really the perfect timing. And for me specifically at that time, because I was finishing my engineering degree, it was really beautiful to have these figures. Maybe we can talk about the title. It says Hidden Figures. We said
Mm.
because of these are black women never talked about. So as women, as figure, as persons, but also figures because they did the maths. So in the mathematical term, it is.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
You didn't think about it. So I'm glad I mentioned
I
that
didn't.
because
I
people are
didn't
numbers.
even think about it like that. That's really interesting.
Yeah,
Hidden figures.
yeah. This is the maths behind this.
They were hidden figures and they brought out of the void. They invented the new math. That's very interesting. Thank you for clarifying that. That's very deep.
Do you have any other remark about this movie? I think we can go on in this movie.
I wanted to ask you about what do you think? This is this is a little bit off the plot itself, but what do you think about making creative liberty during when you make biopics or when you make movies or fiction, when you create fiction, novels, short stories, movies, new movies about real life events or real life characters? To what extent should a creator be allowed or should not even allowed? To what extent should a creator take the creative liberty and do whatever he wants with it or she wants with it? Because there are many instances, most of the instances about World War, about the Middle Ages, about Alexander the Great, or pick any larger than life character, Milka Singh, Bhagat Singh, Gandhi, pick any of them, and you see that there is a large amount of creative liberty taken by the creator, the writer, the filmmaker, the director. What do you think about that? Creative liberty in non-fiction, in fiction, but based on real life events.
I think it's a very interesting question, and I don't have. I think I haven't thought thoroughly on it. I think the liberty that it should be transparent. Maybe somewhere it should be the viewer must be conscious that this is the director take on this person. The problem with the biopics for politicians is that you pick a certain version of a film, of a biopic, and you take the school children to the cinema and you make them watch it, and they will take it as history, they will take it as fact. And most certainly, for example, if you take French kids to cinema and you will make them watch Gandhi, and then you also make them watch Jinnah. So depending on the film, their about these persons will be just that, because these are not the main figures, historical. So they will not search more about them, and their sole image of that person will be that film. And not mentioning that, okay, we have watched this film, but nuance, shade here, like, some You should also do your research, or this is cinema, there is art in it, it is not history. I think we are not conscious as students when we see these films and biopics, mostly because we consume them as history. This is where the problem is. I think as an adult, when you see biopics and as an adult, I don't see a problem, because then you can do your research and then maybe you are more critic of what you're seeing. And maybe for it's part of the process for people who will end up doing masters or higher studies. At some point they will understand that there were some things missing in their syllabus, and they should revise everything they know. But the thing is, not all people, not will students will go to masters, will not develop that criticism, and then they will stay with those versions as facts. And this is where I think it is problematic, because they will maybe,
Even
yeah,
even if you're educated, even if you have done masters, or you're an adult
yeah.
in quotation marks, even are effective. These are movies because they're so captivating and they're so memorable. They incorporate music, they incorporate beautiful camera angles, effective camera angles. They incorporate colors, camera movements, costumes. I think movies or cinema is the most effective art form there is, hands down, because it's so diverse and it has so many art forms inside it. It has literature, it has music, it has performance art, acting, it has costume designing, it has everything in it. That's why when we see, for example, when we see Bhagat Singh, when we see Milka Singh, when we see Jinnah, Gandhi, or any of the characters, any of the larger than life characters, and whatever the writer or the director decides to show these characters as, we remember them as those people. There are many examples of that, and I think you're right. When someone is passionate about research, passionate about history, then he won't stop at one movie. He won't stop at one side. You research and research and research, or and she will read books from both sides. She will read unbiased books by third parties. So I think it is so effective. Also because the director has taken some creative liberties. If it exactly as it was, if it was shown or depicted exactly to the point as it was, then it wouldn't have been entertaining and wouldn't be memorable at all. So there's that.
But then what is accurate? The accuracy. The accuracy,
That's the
there,
dilemma.
there is like, point of views of people of the same problem. You can take meeting notes, and the understanding will be different from people to people. And then what is accurate? And should we, whose comprehension are we gonna display? I think it is a
Hmm.
real deep question. It requires
It's a
thorough
real debate.
reflection. It requires a real thorough debate. Like, and then there for truth, there are many angles and there are many truths. So which truth are we gonna display? And cinema is art. So are we doing history or are we doing art? And yeah, I think I had another thing, but it's just slipped out of my mind.
I think when we talk about creative liberty or when we talk about it, who are we comparing them with? We're comparing them with non-fiction history books, documentaries. One could ask, are documentaries really non-fiction? Who knows what happened? Anybody can give you an argument, and you won't be able to refute it because there's always fiction in non-fiction. I think there's always some. There is no way of knowing what happened. It's only interpretations of history. It's only one person's argument against the other. It's a variety, it's a diversity of opinions, perspectives, and from our own perspective, one shouldn't be so theatrical, dramatic that if the story just falls. For example, historical movie where the partition was caused by dinosaurs would be nonsensical. Everybody would know that that's a creative liberty. That's untrue. Some things are untrue because they just can't possibly be shown like that. They can be possible. But some things, there are many things which can be either either true or false, and we have no way of knowing for sure. I think.
It's true. I want to talk about the thing. You were saying that cinema is the most powerful art form, and you were saying it is almost using a lot of senses. It's using vision, it's using hearing, it's even it goes within, so your sensibility, your emotions, your brain, all your stimuli are open. So what I was thinking is, should you be careful about what you're consuming? Because you're so vulnerable in front of what you're watching. So, because it's gonna affect, as it can shape your view. If you're watching a biopic, it can shape your thinking. Any other type of movie could also shape your thinking and influence you.
I think it we can ease into it. I think everybody has their own taste and their own level of resilience or level of tolerance. A person who has been living in stark conditions, who has been living in hell, who has been through so many obstacles, he or she cannot watch violent films. They would be traumatic. These films would be traumatic to such a person. People who are going through obstacles every day, who are suffering from so many different things during their day, need entertainment. That's what entertainment is for, I think.
Mm.
On the other hand, I think if you want to know the truth, if you want to know the reality, you have to watch the bitter, violent aspects of reality through films or through literature, especially through films because it is audiovisual and it shows you the stark realities of history, literally shows you and makes you listen to it. So, in my opinion, if a person wants to know how people felt, for example, during Jallianwala Bagh massacre or during the Hiroshima and Nagasaki atom bomb attacks, or during Chernobyl, or during any of the movements, resistance movements, during any of the attacks here in Balochistan or in KP or throughout Pakistan, then if she wants to know the reality, he will have to watch uncomfortable, violent, realistic, dark movies. If she wants to be entertained, if she wants to uh, be optimistic, only optimistic, overly optimistic about what's happening in his, in our society, then he should watch fun movies like this one, which takes creative liberties, and it also shows reality, but it also I think distorts it a bit because it doesn't show what they felt for real. These people, although I liked the movie, but there are a lot of things that this movie changed. There are a lot of things that this the tone of this movie hides from the audience. Imagine if run Catherine's run to and from and to her workplace and the washroom had no music. It would have been haunting. It would have been so depressing, and it would have been true. I think. What are your thoughts about it?
Um, yeah, I think the music made it even real, but also Maybe put the distance, as you're saying. I'm not, I think I'm music deaf. I don't, I don't understand as much. But I remember that we all felt the tension. We all felt like, maybe it is, yeah, I think the music just added to the scene. It doesn't make it more funny because
It's
there,
not funny,
yeah,
but doesn't it take away
maybe
the?
bearable.
It makes it more bearable.
Yes.
It dilutes it. In other
Mm,
words, the music makes it more palatable.
I didn't think about it. I will watch it again.
People say that usually people say that in order to analyze a movie, you have to watch it at least twice.
Mm.
Once for simple watching along, and the other times for focusing on the little details.
This movie, I
That's
have
the
seen
idea.
it so many times. I think I watched it twice myself just for entertainment, and then I made everyone else watch it. So I think I still recommend this movie, and you are another proof that I still recommend this movie.
What you said right just now, you watched it multiple times for entertainment. Why? Because it does not represent the true, real feelings that they had. It is entertaining,
Mm.
and because it is diluted, because
Yeah.
uh, it doesn't represent the
It's not
anger
as heavy
that
as
they
it should
not
be.
have.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
I mean
true.
it has its place in cinema.
Mm.
I think we shouldn't only watch dark movies. We should also watch entertaining movies about these dark and depressing topics.
Yeah.
It does have its place in cinema, but I would have loved to watch a movie about these three characters, but from a more realistic lens.
Agree. Maybe reading a book is also an alternative to know. So there is reality, and then there is the book, and then there is this movie. So maybe reading a book may give us another angle.
So this movie is a translation of a translation.
Yeah. And there's so much lost in
Yes,
translation. We know that.
thank you so
Yeah.
much.